What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. And you see anything different in the studio? I saw the sign that opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Yeah, Round One Sports Talk here to open up your eyes to all the things that are going on in boxing with the latest boxing news and fights that are going around in boxing. I gotta admit, I'm psyched for the sign. That shit is tight. I like that. I like it. I hope you guys like it, man. Um, it took a long time for it to come in, but it finally arrived. Uh, I had to pick out all the letters, everything, the design. It's just so many options that I wasn't sure which one to go with, but I like it. I like how it looks, and I'm very happy with it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. You know what I mean? As you join the live stream, let me put up your chats. Let me put up your live chats and shit. So we're gonna be going over these amazing fights, but before we get into that, we're gonna be talking about Naoya Inoue and a super mega fight that we I wish would happen, and it's actually Naoya Inoue versus Javante Tank Davis. And I've been seeing a lot around social media. A lot of people have been talking about this very fight in particular, and like a lot of fight fans would glamour over this kind of fight with the Japanese superstar moving up in weight slightly and Javante losing a few pounds, 5 pounds. Javante Davis, I truly believe he can make this weight. You know, I don't think that it's a problem for Javante to make the weight. He hasn't really gotten any taller per se, um, and his frame is it looks kind of like the same. I know. I think if he just dedicated himself a little bit more to the sport, I think he would be okay. Um, and I don't think that Javante would lose anything by going down to 130. In fact, I've always said this. I've always believed Javante to be a natural 130 pounder. I think he would flourish in the 130-pound weight division. But the only reason why he's not fighting there is because there wasn't really anybody there with big names. In the time that he was coming up, he was thinking that he was probably going to get some big fights with these guys that were there. None of these fights really materialized against Javante Tank Davis, and I'm not too sure that that was due all in part to his fault. We might be able to sit back and criticize Javante Tank Davis and say, why didn't you fight Devin Haney? Well, why didn't Devin Haney fight Javante Tank Davis? Why didn't Teofimo Lopez fight Javante? So we could say the same thing, and I'm not in the room with these guys, so I don't really know, who makes the decisions and who didn't make the decision. But I did, notice a few offers that were made to fighters such as Shakur Stevenson when Devin Haney once offered him a shot at all four of those belts, and he felt like he underpaid him. giving him like 25% of the fight or whatever it was. And Shakur wasn't going for it. But I bet Shakur is kicking himself in his ass right now and thinking that that could have been him. He could have had 4 belts at 135 pounds, Shakur Stevenson. And he didn't deny one offer. He denied 2 offers from Devin Haney. And I know this to be both true because it came out of the horse's mouth. Not only did Devin Haney confirm this, but Shakur Stevenson is on YouTube talking about the very thing. So I was like, yo, so, who makes these fights? Is it really the fighters or is it the promoters or a little of both? Do you guys actually think that a fight like this, a mega fight between the Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue and Gervonta Davis would be actually possible? To tell you the truth, I actually think it could happen. I really do. The more I think about it, yeah, I think it could be possible. You know, they agreed to a fight at 130 and slap a 10-pound rehydration clause on that fight right there with Javante versus Naoya Inoue. All you gotta do is put a 10-pound rehydration clause. Just make sure Tank don't blow up too big, right? He's still gonna put on some weight because if you're not really familiar with different types of rehydration clause, this is how it typically works for the IBF anyway, right? The IBF rehydration clause is, let's say the fight is scheduled at 140, hypothetically. The fight is scheduled at 140. You make 140. You and your opponent make the weight. The next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, you guys both got to make weight. And the weight that you guys put on cannot exceed over the 10-pound limit, meaning you cannot weigh 151. You're disqualified. So you can't put on more than 10 pounds from that next day. Okay. The minute you make the weight at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're free to put on whatever weight you can, which is typically going to be between 2 to 4 pounds on average. You'll probably put on 2 more pounds, maybe 2 to 4 pounds in between there. So you'll probably weigh in on fight night anywhere between 152, 154, right around in that range. The reason why they put the 10-pound rehydration clause is because they're making sure you belong in that weight division. If you weren't a bigger man and you made weight the day before at the next day at 9 o'clock, you're not going to be able to hide that weight. It's going to pack on, or you're going to have to cut weight twice, which is not good. You're going to kill your fighter. You would have to do that every single fight. You see? So the rehydration clause, the 10-pound, it makes sure that you've trained for that weight. Meaning, if you cut weight to make that weight, you're not going to be far off. You're only going to be a 10-pound difference. That's it. And that's competing at that weight. And they consider that to be the right thing to do. The IBF. So that's how that. Now, the 10-pound weight rehydration claw that like the one that Tank Davis had on Ryan Garcia. Now, that was a contract 10-pound rehydration claw. That's different than the IBF rules. One, the IBF is not sanctioning it, meaning there's not like their officiators from the IBF are there to make sure you don't go over the 10-pound. They have a certain time in the morning. They have a schedule. When Tank Davis made that 10-pound rehydration claw with Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis could have said, all right, we make weight today. The next day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we weigh in. We can't be 10 pounds over. Whenever I feel like waking up. Tank Davis could have made him wait all day to weigh in to make sure that he wasn't bigger than that weight they agreed upon. You see, he ain't going to be able to keep the weight off. You would have to train for that weight division. So, that was a contract 10-pound rehydration claw. It was between them. They talked about it. Yo, what time you feel like getting up? 12 o'clock? 12 o'clock. I'll see you on the scale at 12. Just don't be over 10 pounds. Agreed. Boom. And then they can put on whatever weight they want. But it's not, you know, um, the rules are put in place by the fighters. I'm just, and the IBF is the organization. So it's a little different. Hey, what's up, guys? Everybody tuning in. You guys notice something different, huh? Huh? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think, huh? Listen, I saw the sign. Yeah, I saw the sign that opened up my eyes. Yes, you come here to get your eye, be awakened, you know, and be informed for all things boxing. That thing is amazing. I fucking like it, man. I like that. I like that a lot right there. Yeah. You like that, Armando? What's up, Frontline? How you guys doing? Tank's fat ass can't make 130. And that's the thing, right? Check this out, guys, right? The reason why I'm making this video too is because I was studying Tank yesterday. In fact, I went back and I watched Tank's earlier fight, what they have film of him. A lot of his film starts from when he was already like 12-0. He had like 12 fights, 11 knockouts when like the first TV fight of Tank Davis started coming out. There's other footage circling around on their internet. You can find it. I found it of him of like his first fight, and I think his one of his boys or his cousin or somebody was filming him with a camera behind the scenes, and he was getting ready and he had a little headband on, and you saw Tank Davis back then. There was a different look in his eyes. It was a different Tank Davis. That was a Tank Davis that was starving. That was a Tank Davis that wanted out of his situation, and he would have fought any man in the world to change his stars. That was a Tank Davis right there that his back was against the wall. This ain't a fucking drill, and he's not bullshitting. He went to work. That young man, Tank Davis, man, at 21 years old, the way he was performing, yo, those guys, go back and watch those. The highlights make these guys look like bums. Because you got to understand, by the time they already showed that highlight, Tank Davis was already fighting him for a while. One of the Mexican dudes that he was fighting, I forgot his name right now, it skips me, was good. And Floyd Mayweather was in the attendance in the audience. He had, his little suit on, and Floyd is jumping out of his seat. And this is a time that Tank didn't have no tattoos. He had like this one heart thing on his chest, no facial hair. He looked like a baby. And he had these big blue shorts on with like light blue stripes. And the way he hit the guy at the end, I could see on the highlight reel that the guy was like moving back and he looked awkward. No, that guy was scared by that point in the fight. He was scared. Tank Davis, listen, that guy was fighting Tank pretty good. And I got to see what Tank looked like at 130. And I got to admit, Tank was vicious. He was a little greener, but he was vicious and he was calculated. Um, Tank's always had a game plan going into a fight, and it's to execute his ass whooping on his opponent. I was watching him, and you can see exactly during the time he lost focus when he started to acquire a little bit of money and he wanted to chase around Floyd Mayweather. He thought that when Floyd was like his boxing promoter, that wherever Floyd went, he went, and it wasn't like that. Floyd, there was a lot of downtime where Floyd was out doing his own thing and Tank was stuck in like some building. In fact, Floyd Mayweather bought him a Jeep, got him a condo, I think in Las Vegas. Tank got homesick and he sold the Jeep and I guess whatever the condo he cashed in the money, got on a plane and went back home. Like Tank had very little guidance and even knew less about money. When he was young like that, getting some money, a lot of his family was with their hand out talk about, save us. And they had a lot of ideas. Hey, let me open a store, do this with me, or do that and do this. And Tank sitting there looking at them and he had to juggle all these things. And in that, you can see where that his discipline to the sport started to show, where that he got on the scale and lost his belt because he was too heavy at the 130-pound weight division. In fact, in 130, he had two real belts. Tank Davis's first belt he ever acquired was the IBF. The IBF is the first belt Tank Davis ever had, a real belt at 130. He lost that belt on the scale. Then he went and won the WBA at 130. Okay. Then he went and got an interim belt at 135 and he got another interim belt at 140 when he fought Mario Barrios. And that was pretty much it at that time. Now Tank Davis has solidified himself as the 135-pound WBA super champion of the world, which is this belt right here. And he solidified that by beating Frank the Ghost Martin. So Tank Davis has lost focus. And in some fights, he has blimped up, even ventured out to 140 to see if he can just rely on his pure boxing ability, his God given talent. His coach, Calvin Ford, is being, I think that they're Tank and Calvin Ford right now, they're starting to click on all cylinders. And since he was already at the 135 and got the belt, there was really no need to go down to 130. But I think a dedicated and prime Tank Davis, he's only 5'5", he shouldn't have no problem losing those extra 5 pounds and meeting Naoya Inoue at 130. Because that's the lowest I would expect Tank Davis to go down before now I feel he'll hurt himself as a fighter. You see? And Naoya Inoue has entered the ring at least in the 130 or above already. When he fought Luis Pantera Nari, what he entered that fight? 134? What was it? I forget what it was. But he was in the 130s up there a little bit, not so much past 135, so he was somewhere in there, I remember. Um, so I know he can make that weight and he can feel comfortable at fighting that weight. The only thing, like I suggested, was I would put a weight claw on the fight to help myself know that Tank Davis ain't gonna just because I know that Tank Davis could pack on the weight. If Tank Davis fought at 140, what did he enter on the night of the fight? When he fought against Mario Barrio for that interim title, the fight was scheduled at 140. Tank Davis cut weight. At the night of the fight, what did he fight Mario Barrio at? So I know Tank Davis can pack on some weight. And if you allow it to go crazy and you don't keep your eye on that, you say, Tank Davis, fight Naoya Inoue at 130. All right. Fucking Tank come into the fight 160. The next day, back on 30 pounds or some crazy shit. You know what I mean? You don't want that. So to ensure that at least it's fought, it's not gonna be a crazy number. Like he might be 6, 7 pounds heavier than Naoya Inoue on fight night, but it ain't gonna be no 14 pounds. It ain't gonna be like Devin Haney. He was 14 pounds heavier than Regis Progress. So, you just don't want that. And I believe that it can be done. I believe it can be done. And look, Naoya Inoue and Tank Davis can meet each other within 2 years. Within 2 years, they can meet each other. Okay. Um, Naoya Inoue can build a little bit more. Tank Davis is going to be at 135. He has no desire of going anywhere else. He should stay out of the 140, clean house at 135. The Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko fight, hopefully that, they went on. I heard that they had went um, under negotiations already. So I believe that fight is going to be definite. Look, don't take my word for that. I'm not going to co-sign that. I've heard a lot of things in boxing. So then, like Shakur Stevenson, he's always throwing his name in the ring. But just like Teofimo Lopez and just like the rest of these fighters, which I spoke about at the beginning of this year into boxing, I said be prepared to see your favorite fighter lose. And I saw a lot of good fighters that I like lose. But I'm a fan of them all. And it's Shakur Stevenson's time up. Now it's time for Shakur Stevenson to really prove that he's on a different level and that what he claims, you see, this is one of the things I talked about in one of my previous videos when these fighters actually are putting these expectations on themselves. And then we, the fan, call them out on the shit that they say, and then they get offended. They start saying, "Oh, what do you expect from me?" What do you mean, what do I expect? I expect what you said. You were the one that said, "I'm the best fighter in the world." You're the one that said, "I want to unify." You're the one that said, "I want to fight the best fighters in the world." Ain't those your words? So when you're not fighting this guy and you're not getting in the ring and you're denying fights for 4 belts against Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson is having a lackluster performance against Edwin De Los Santos, I mean, who set these expectations on you? Was it us, the fans, or was it you? And I believe Shakur Stevenson put these expectations like many of these fighters. Teofimo Lopez did the same thing. And these guys think that it's okay to get in front of this camera and just blur out anything. Just say anything. Just say, yeah, 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 that it'll never come back. And nobody's going to pull their card on it. So now it's Shakur Stevenson's and Jerron Boots Ennis has a big fight on his hands as well. Look, I believe that his level of competition slightly went up. Um, I think that this guy is strong, but 5 weeks notice. I mean, less than 5 weeks notice. I don't think so. But let's see what Jerron Boots Ennis' dad comes up with as far as developing a game plan in that shorter period of time too, as well. Um, David Amarinian, he's strong, right? And if you allow him to fire off on you, it seems like when he gets his fighters hurt, he does get them against the rope, and it does look and give the appearance that he's hitting hard and these guys are shelling up and that their heads are like ringing. That's when you see a guy that's not throwing back, right? Now, I've seen in certain situations David like really like dominating fights. I went back, I watched a couple of his fights, and I said to myself, yeah, but Jerron Boots Ennis is elusive, but sometimes we've seen where that elusive style and a little bit moving too much like Zab Judah, someone can time you. The good thing with Jaron Boots Ennis is that he keeps his feet moving. The wrong thing that Zab Judah did is what he set himself into a trap, and Tim Tszyu saw it. When Zab Judah went back and as soon as he picked up that first foot and set it down, there was nowhere else he could go, and he had leaned all the way to the point where unless he was gonna fall backwards, you were stuck. And Tim Tszyu, his dad, um, saw that, and Zoo Senior, and he just caught him, man. You guys seen that knockout. So when we're thinking about like the possibility of Naoya Inoue moving up, um, depending, let's see what he does. He's still talking like he's entertaining fights at 122. I gotta admit, he's still talking like, um, I mean, so I don't know. I don't know because look, I don't want to burst you guys' bubble because I've already had a lot of people in my comments say that they would like to see that fight against Naoya Inoue and Ahmadalia MJ, right? The problem is that Top Rank boss there, the owner of Top Rank, Bob Arum, he shot that possibility down. There's a video on YouTube with Bob Arum, right? And he killed that notion. So I don't want to sit here and sell you the fact that they could change their mind and pick MJ, as one of those fights as he gets ready for Goodman, right? Because Naoya Inoue is on that shit where like he's kicking these kind of guys' asses on the way to the fight. That's what he's doing. He's kicking these guys' asses on the way to the fight. So, I would in like a good world, I would have said, yeah, maybe but they already announced his opponent. Now Inoue's next opponent, right? And it wasn't MJ. And then Bob Arum came out and said, yeah, that fight's not gonna happen. Like he shot that shit down. So I was like, wow, okay. But and then he's still talking about, then you got to read between the lines, right? You're like, wait a minute. If, he's saying that, and then the next fight is supposed to be Sam Goodman, definitely he ain't fighting MJ in the near future, right? Then all of a sudden, like, Naoya Inoue is, all over social media, and he's saying that he would entertain some of these fights. That he would actually like take some of these fights on. Look, he's only going after the top guys, and if he can't get one of the top guys to fight him, then he's gonna move on to the next. What you guys saying here? Yeah, I know his Tank Davis is Muslim new name. They've been calling him. He's gonna be Tank Davis until his career's over with me. That's um, people had to transition from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. Not everybody overnight went from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. This man did a bit in jail and did 3 years and then came out and announced himself as that. So the name Cassius Clay kind of like died down. There was a break in between, and then the new fight fans adopted the name Muhammad Ali, and the rest is history. You see, I'm not gonna come into boxing, and this is how you establish you're the Tank. You are a Tank, and with respect, you know, I guess if I met him and he asked me himself personally, I guess I probably would stop. Until that day happens, he's Tank Davis, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's the magazine right there. Yeah, yeah. I framed it. Yeah, I framed it. Yeah, that's it. That's the magazine I picked up in Puerto Rico with George Foreman and Muhammad Ali when they fought in Africa. One of the most famous fights in the world. One of the most famous fights in the world. Yeah. The most famous boxing match in the world was Joe Louis versus Max Schilling, the the German, when they fought in New York City during World War II. It was truly us versus them, and Max Schilling had beat our champion, and it was the ironic thing that in that time it was a black man they went to ask to help them win this fight. It was just a moral victory for the men and women that were fighting at the time, and it showed that, like, you ever have like this thing, in life, if you say, if I hit this shot, she'll date me. She'll say yes, you know, and it was just having that aura. It was ironic during the time it was a black man that they they went and backed, you know, and he had lost to Max Schilling. That's what made it crazy. Schilling had taken some time away from the sport. I went back and I looked at his story, and he got a real bad rap for a lot of that Hitler shit. They thought that he was like this real racist. In fact, he did some real remarkable shit for people. He helped a lot of people out and shit, and he got kind of like a bad name because he was representing them. So the fight kicks off and everything, and you had thousands and thousands of people back then at the fight, outside on the fight, listening on a radio. And those that, if were fortunate enough that owned the TV, were tuning in. And play by play, the guy on the radio just described how Lewis moved out and Schilling was kind of like flickering his hand out. Joe Louis, I can imagine in those moments, you know, let me take you a step further backwards in the locker room, the build up to a fight like that, the magnitude of the moment, everything riding on you. I mean, you're actually either getting phone calls from the president, or like, there are big people in that man's room, and you got to understand, like, they were like places where black and whites didn't even use the same um, bathrooms at that time. They didn't eat in the same restaurants. In some hotels, blacks weren't still allowed into. It was a real different era in our society as a human race, and for that many people to come together behind the boxing match, that man brought everyone together, black, white. They were all cheering. It must have been like, it's not every day you could fight for your country like that. Like the whole world, like that fight was bigger than them too. The night, the stage, it must have been surreal. And Joe Louis, he's going out there. And, these things had to be playing in the back of his mind. This guy beat me, but not tonight. Not tonight. He didn't have time to be scared anymore. He had made peace with himself as he was walking out to that ring. He knew he was gonna go in that ring and you would have to kill him. He knew. And remarkably though, the fight was a lot easier than he thought. He hit him with when the opening bell, he came out and he moves his shoulders, right? and you could see Max like pawing out like this. I remember he just kind of like hit him with a stiff, hard jab. You saw that the jabs that he was hitting that man with was snapping his head back. And Joe Louis he just started bam. And from that shot that he hit him, that Max went like this, that he covered up and went back, the crowd erupted. They all jumped out of their seats. They knew like they were like thinking, this is it. This is the moment. And I can imagine the play by play that was being played back to like Hitler, like in the Germans, and they were like texting him or whatever they were doing, like, oh shit, he got cracked and blah blah blah. And they were probably broadcasting it over there. And when things started to go south, they probably like cut off the broadcast. But our shit was like playing loud and clear. You could hear it over the channels. The people at home were cheering. It was that had to be amazing. That's got to be the best fight of all time. He knocked that man out. The streets went crazy. Everybody was one. Everybody was hugging and kissing each other. It was just an amazing, amazing moment in boxing history and sports history. It was just so big. It was just so big. It was just so much riding on the line that night. It's hard to put it into words what a fight like that, and then to be a part of it. To be a part of it is, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, it's unfortunate what happened to him at the end of his career and how he ended up in life. And it goes to show you for everything he did for us, you know, they couldn't like scrape his taxes away, you know. Uncle Sam's a motherfucker. But that's another story in its entirety. What he did for us on that night, on that day, that'll never be forgotten. That fight will ring out through the halls of boxing forever. Forever. And although this fight was really big, and I gotta admit that was a big fight, there has been some big, big, matches and stuff, but nothing like that. I've never went back and read, and it was it was way back then. I wasn't even alive, but I can just I see the videos and the pictures and the books and the stories, and I've watched it over and over, and I can just fantasize about like you know what it would mean to do that, to be in those shoes, and to pull it off. Fuck around and don't pull it off. He just had so much riding on his back. you know. But that's boxing for you. What's up, Road Rage? How you doing, brother? Frontline, you be saying some crazy shit. Hey, yo, Road Rage, I got you, baby. Don't worry about that. I'm on that. Um, Listen. So we were talking about the Naoya Inoue and the possibility of Naoya Inoue and Tank Davis actually meeting one day. And you know, I've been really fantasizing about that fight. I love big mega fights, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You know, I heard this in a video just the other day. I don't know, I forgot exactly. I would give him his props, but I just forgot who said it. And he said, I think he came in a comment in one of my videos. That's where I heard it from. Yeah, it was a comment in one of my videos, and he said that he can't give Naoya Inoue credit for weak divisions. That his divisions were weak, so that's why he's accomplished what he's accomplished. and that I guess, according to him, that Terrence Crawford's guys or Uzyk's were better, and I disagree. And I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because how many Hall of Famers has Naoya Inoue fought already? That fighters that are on their way to the Hall of Fame? And how many fighters has Terrence Crawford fought recently? If they say that Naoya Inoue's record of the people that he fought are no good, right? Wait a minute. He fought all the champions. The only way he moved up throughout his weight divisions, he fought the existing champion. There's no higher you can go for one. And if you're gonna say that Terrence Crawford's on his like 40 fight there, he's got at least 30 fights of fighters that are who? Who are these fighters? There's like 30 fighters on Terrence Crawford's record that it's just a list of owls. Who? 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 Who the hell are these guys? So how could you say that about Naoya Inoue when he's fighting Paul Butler, world champion, Nonito Donaire, world champion, Jason McDonald, world champion. He's just fighting world champions. And although they might not be familiar with these guys' name, if we were to break down skill for skill, all the fighters that Terrence Crawford fought versus the fighters that Naoya Inoue fought, I'm not sure you want to do that. How many fighters, skilled fucking fighters, did Terrence Crawford fucking fight? And I'm going to tell you, once you get to 10, it's going to be tough. You're going to get to 10. You're going to get to name out 10 fighters off the rip. You're going to get 10 fighters. Once you pass those 10 fighters on his resume, get back to me. Who the fuck are these guys? And what have they done? All 7 of the fighters that Terrence Crawford fought that were undefeated, all his undefeated fighters, like he went against them, he was undefeated before he went against Terrence Crawford, right? Not one of those guys went on to win a world title. So that means that the guys that he beat weren't even good enough to become champion. Naoya Inoue is beating the world champions, taking their belt. When he leaves, they're going on to win their belt back. That's how good those guys were. You might not want to do that. You see, Naoya Inoue, it's because they're not familiar with this weight division. But these guys that he was fighting, they were top tier guys. All of them. If they weren't top tier guys, why are they all still champion? But why hasn't any of them ran the table? Why hasn't not just one of those guys secure all the belts? And why is it before Naoya Inoue did it, there has been no fighter in boxing history to ever do what he's done or even come close in the bantamweight divisions? So no fighter in history. He's the first fighter, whether it's Japanese, American, any fighter in the world. He's the first bantamweight champion to do what he's doing. So if it's that easy, why hasn't no one ever done it? It's not easy. He's making it look easy. There's a difference. Why is it looking easy? Because he's that good. I think Naoya Inoue has the skills to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. I think Gervonta Tank Davis has the skills to fight Naoya Inoue. I think they do. It's the best fight. Who else is going to fight them? Look, whether you don't like Gervonta Davis, put that to the side for a minute. Put that to the side. If you don't like Naoya Inoue, put that to the side for a minute. You might love Tank and don't like care for Naoya anyway. You might love Naoya and don't care for Tank. But if you put those feelings to the side for just 1 second, where is there a better fight? Where? Bam's too small. Where is there a better fight? These are the toughest of the tough right here. That's the fight. That's the fight right there. I'm not sure if Loma's old ass will get the credit. If Naoya Inoue beats Loma, they're gonna say he was too old. I'm not sure he gets the credit. Javante is the best avenue. They're 1 year apart from each other. He's the tough yo. That's the best fight right there. There's nobody else that I can say honestly that's on that Japanese's level. Yo, Javante's slick as fuck, boy. Yo, when he was fighting and he was younger, right? He was a little bit more wild in his approach, but he was aggressive. But he was really intelligent as a fighter. He did things, test the waters. You'll catch him with a couple shots. He's in a fight, right? But that's Javante testing you. And he's testing your ring IQ. He's testing your intelligence as a fighter while also pushing the pace on you to see if you're comfortable fighting at a high pace. He's comfortable there. Are you? And Javante Tank Davis is going to push you, right? But he pushes you intelligently. He's no dummy in that ring. Um, and as he started to develop as a fighter, like now, for instance, the Javante of today, right? The Javante of today, I think, is meeting up with the Javante when he was young. He's really known, he's seeing what it takes to be on this level and what it is to maintain it. He struggles with it with all the distractions of the world. But Calvin Ford and him, they looked really good. I got to admit, his facial structure, his movement against Frank the Ghost Martin, he looked really, really good. And I felt better about Tank Davis overall as a whole coming into that fight with Frank the Ghost Martin. I believe if he can maintain this level of dedication and focusedness, he wouldn't be off from making that 130. And then Naoya Inoue, can put on a couple pounds. What would be even better to the equation, of course, would be if Naoya Inoue during this 1 year span moved up to 126 and was successful at obtaining a world title, which would probably be for the WBO, because that's his entrance, that's his ticket to the fight in the above Jason weight division is the WBO. You see, because you can become the mandatory. So he'd probably fight Espinosa if he still was the champion at during this time. And if he made 126, was acclimating to the division, already packing from 126 to 130, it's right there. It's right there. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. And I can see that fight for the both of the men and their legacies. Look, on both sides, Javante Davis goes down in history as the man that stopped the Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue, the monster. He would go down as the monster slayer. He stopped Naoya Inoue's reign. That's and to have that name on your resume, that's a big fucking name, bro. That's a huge fucking name. And Javante Davis doesn't have a lot of big names, but that one name, you can put Naoya Inoue's name on your resume as a win for you. Yo, bro, what that would do for Gervonta Davis's legacy? Both fighters would be going into that fight undefeated. Both O's are on the line here. Not sure if they would be fighting for a vacate belt. The boxing world would come up. They'll smack a dude in 130. Give me that belt. Yeah, it's for this belt right here. You guys are fighting for. Shut the. It's for this belt, yo, yo, just to get that fight going. They'll strip somebody, bro. You sneeze wrong. Give me my belt. You know what I mean? Uh, ah, that yeah, man. I don't know what belt it would be at 130. I don't know the champions. I just started trying to rack through my brain and think of all the champions at 130 right now, and quickly to see if one would be vacant and shit. I really don't know what belt, if any, if they could fight at 134. But Jesus Christ, man, that would just be a fantasy fight, my man. And I'm starting to think that it's more plausible because now Naoya Inoue on his half, if he beat Gervonta Tank Davis, he took Gervonta Tank Davis's O. He would be the first man to beat the Tank. And Naoya Inoue would solidify his claim as the best fighter in the world. By beating Tank Davis, that man is making $39 million a fight. He's a pay-per-view star. He brings a lot to the equation. Naoya Inoue knocks out or beats Gervonta Tank Davis in whatever way. Not saying he would just knock him out. Could go to a decision, right? Whatever way he would win, if he was to win, he would take Gervonta Davis down. Go back to Japan as like the hottest thing since fucking samurai swords. He's hotter than the creation of samurai swords right now. And that's big. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be a real Godzilla versus King Kong fight, bro. On some real shit. You know what I mean? That would be fucking awesome. And in both way, low key, it would be like racist on both parts, but we would understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like we'd be like, ain't you calling Javante? But wait a minute, you're calling Naoya Inoue, you know what I'm saying? Like, but King Kong is American, like New York City. And Godzilla is like Japan. Like he's like a figure, like he's on action figures out there and shit. And it would be and some people would try to like be like, man, back the fuck up, bro. Have some humor, have some two beast. You know what I'm saying? Like rock with it. You know what I mean? And it would be some Godzilla King Kong shit. Yo, that would be amazing. Yeah, that I just, let's see like what happens from here because I actually think that Naoya Inoue can move up there because ironically, Gervonta Davis and Naoya Inoue are the exact same height. Gervonta Davis is 5'5", Naoya Inoue is 5'5". They're exactly the same height. So that's the more and more I look at it, I even made a video. Listen, I really think so. Let Naoya Inoue do some more Naoya Inoue shit. He's gonna go on and do some shit, and let Gervonta Tank Davis go do Gervonta Davis Tank shit. Meaning, I think that Gervonta Davis is gonna unify those belts. Um, Undisputed, I don't know. I don't know. I think some of the champions will try to run from him. I don't see that other dude fucking fighting him, bro. Nah, not the newly acquired WBA champion. That other Russian dude, where Lomachenko's from. Ukraine, the other Ukrainian fighter, that's Russian too. Ukraine's Russia. So I don't know. I don't think he'll fight Tank Davis, man. That's tough. That's tough. And maybe he might not have the belt anymore. Maybe he might lose it, and the guy that beats him could fight him. I don't know. I don't know, guys. But I know that, if Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis fight, I would love to think that that would be a really skilled fight and shit. I think that it's just gonna be a lot of evading, uh, really like you know um, one two punch sequences in and out type fight, like one of those kind of fights where it's like jab out, jab 1 2 out, jab out, like that. Not a lot of big combinations or throwing in, I think it'll be like a fight if Javante and Shakur Stevenson fought. Yeah, it'll be a lot of Javante trying to track him down and Shakur Stevenson evading and rolling off the ropes and making Javante miss big, and then Javante having his moments. Um, one thing about fighting Javante Tank Davis, if you don't start to do anything in front of him, he's going to push the action. That's for sure. It would never have been that. See, Shakur Stevenson was lucky that Edwin De Los Santos was too tense in that fight. Edwin De Los Santos in that fight, right? He was just, I guess his training was built based off Shakur Stevenson's speed and to counter that. And when he didn't have anything, he didn't fight. He was just, you know, wanting, come on, come on, come on, throwing out the jab, like flickering it, trying to entice him to fight. And Shakur just kept circling out. Like a Ringman Ringman when he got on his bike, all that, there was nothing worse than that fight when Ringman started running around that ring. Oh my God, that was and him being such a good fighter, you know. Look, all these things about Chocolatito and Naoya Inoue at lower weight divisions, not cleaning out like some of these weight divisions at 115, and some people trying to give him shit about that. Look, dudes, guys, look, Naoya Inoue was doing Naoya Inoue shit. He was defending titles. He was probably asking some of these guys to fight. And as soon as these guys said, no, I can't fight you during this time, I'll fight you, he just went on to the next fighter. He offered the Russell kid a fight, one of the Russell brothers, Naoya Inoue, to fight him. I believe it was at 115. And he said no. He said no. He wouldn't fight him. And it would have been for a title fight for Naoya Inoue's title fight. And that was during the Corona epidemic. That's when he fought in like New York, and I thought it was LA, right? He fought in this like I think it's out there. I forgot the name of the place where it was, but Naoya Inoue has fought 4 times out of Japan. You know, yeah, I think he fought. No, he fought. I keep thinking he went out to the UK to fight McDonald, and I know I've been wrong about that because he actually fought him in Japan. I think it was in Japan. McDonald came out there to fight him, I think, and then he went into the World Series of Boxing with that belt. Then he beat Emmanuel Rodriguez, Payano, and then Donaire in the closing in that fight. And Naoya Inoue has only had 2 IBF um, belts throughout his career. He's only had 2 of them. He had one in 118 and one in 122. And then the rest of his belts have been all WBO titles and WBC world titles. The WBA world title, he only had the WBA in 2 weight divisions too. He had it at 118 and at 122 he had the WBA. But he had his first belt he ever won was at WBC, and that was at 108. That was his first belt. When he moved up from 108, he jumped the weight division. He went right straight to 115. The belt he fought for 115 was Omar Narvaez's belt, right? Yeah, Omar Narvaez's belt. Was it? Yeah, and Omar Narvaez's belt was I think it was a WBO. I want to say it was a WBO. He won a WBO, yeah. So he's only had a WBA in 118, and a WBA in 122, and the IBF in 118, the IBF at 122. That's it. The rest of his belts have been, I believe, all. Damn, I don't got it up on my screen, but that's interesting. That's bugged out. I started thinking that through my head as I was talking, and I started saying to myself, damn, how many times has he had the IBF title? I didn't really see him in a lot of like shots with the IBF title, and the only two weight division out of the four weight division, he's only had the IBF in two, and I think he's only had the WBA in two as well. The WBO and the WBC are the ones that he maintained throughout all four weight divisions. He has a WBO. No, no, he has a WBO in three weight divisions, I think. And then he has a WBC in all four. I was trying to figure out what belt he had in all four. It was the WBC. The WBC he had in all four weight divisions, I think. Right? I gotta look this shit up. Nah, I think at 115 he didn't have a WBC. He only had a WBO. Yeah, so he didn't have all four and the other two. There's a mixture of belts. Yeah, he didn't have one belt, which I'm trying to figure out consistently throughout all four weight divisions. There was no belt that he held consistently. No, no organization. Like he favored one organization over the other one. Like for instance, Floyd Mayweather, he favored highly the fucking WBC world champion. He's got five of them on right here in this picture. He has five of them on his possession in this picture. He's got one, two, three, no, one, two, three, four. Yeah, because that one folds like that. Yeah, one, two, three, four. He's got four of them on right there. So he favored their organization, and I think throughout all his five um title weight divisions, I believe he's had a WBC title in all five weight divisions. Mayweather. I gotta check on that. Maybe not the last one at 154. Don't hold me on that. He probably only had him up to 147, the WBC World Title. I gotta check because I don't believe he had one at 154. He took me Miguel Cotto's belt at 154, and I think he had the WBA or the WBO. So yeah, there wasn't like one, but he favored that belt the most. So I was just thinking in my head to see if there was an organization that he favored the most, like that other Japanese superstar that he just made a record where that he has four weight divisions with one organization, the WBO, the Japan guy. He went up four weight divisions and he used the WBO. He has a WBO in every weight division, like that. You know, you think that I think that Naoya can beat Pitbull Cruz and Tank Davis if they all three are in the same weight class, according to Tank and Pitbull Cruz fight. Naoya's down round one. Nah, Tank would never. Um, Listen, the problem with that Southpaw is that styles make fights, and when styles make fights, I didn't think that Sweepy Pernell Whitaker belonged up there with those big men, and boy did he prove me wrong. Sweepy Pernell Whitaker proved that his elusiveness and the problems and the frustration that he would bring out in fighters would make them make mistakes. Tank Davis's power is not in question here. Tank Davis can probably knock out any man south of 150 to fucking 130. He can knock out any man in the world. That's not the argument. The argument is that Mayweather went all the way up to 154 to fight fighters like you know Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto's, and Mayweather wasn't that heavy. He was a little guy. These guys had 20 pounds on him. And Mayweather outsmarted, outboxed the much bigger, stronger, powerful puncher and fighter. And Mayweather showed that real skills can pay the bills. He's in that conversation as a man how skillful. So that's in that avenue. It would be a real amazing, interesting fight between Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue. Why? Because styles make fights. And although Tank Davis has that massive uppercut, we're talking about one of the most highly skilled fighters with one of the highest ring IQs. When he took your boy Stephen Kubo Fulton and you were on calling Naoya Inoue a hype job, right? Southpaw TV there, right? When you were calling him a hype job, you had to admit that that hype job right there took your boy from Philly and shut him down. He didn't win a single round. A single round coming into that fight and an undefeated unified world champion, you would think that he would at least put up a better fight, a better performance. And after he taught your boy a boxing lesson, he put him away and knocked him out. And he even showed boxing class. Because when he knocked out Stephen Kubo Fulton in that fight, if he wanted to follow through with that punch, he'd have probably knocked him out the ring. But when he hit him, he let off the punch to spare him. Because even though he deserved that kind of ass whooping for the shit that Scooter's coach started saying leading into that fight, you guys all called him a hype job. And he's proving you guys all wrong. Even when Luis Pantera Nari dropped him, that speaks to his pedigree of championship caliber of fighter. You're in a fight. You're going to get touched up. There is no Superman. And when he got up in that fight, boy, he turned things around. So much, in fact, Luis Pantera Nares didn't win a single exchange the rest of the fight. He got outboxed, outmatched, and then he got knocked out. So if that's your definition of a hype job, then what the fuck is your definition of the best fighter in the world? Naoya must have help from Scooter. Not that Scooter, asshole. Scooter is the nickname to Stephen Kubo Fulton in Philly. People that know him from Philly call him Scooter. That's like in the hood nickname. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Fulton talks lots of shit and got knocked out by Naoya Inoue. A lot of fighters talk a lot of shit. It's one thing to talk shit to sell the fight. I understand shit talking, and fighters do that all the time, right? But that's not what Stephen Kubo Fulton was trying to sell you. Stephen Kubo Fulton believed in what he was saying. He was trying to warn you that this guy is a hype job and that he's the real deal. That this guy is not on his level. You saw the interviews leading into the fight. They play him all the time on social media when shit talking goes wrong. They got Stephen Kubo Fulton up there on 1080 HP high definition saying all this shit about Naoya Inoue, and then they show the fight in the background. Poof, 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 poof. And it goes to show you that even in defeat, they still don't want to give this guy his credit. He took what you guys all talked about going to be his toughest challenge up to date, and he made it look like a sparring match. What happened to this was it? This was the one. Where was all that energy after the fight? Where did that all go? Where has Stephen Kubo Fulton been? I just saw him in a video with Jerron Boots Ennis as he gets prepared for his fight against David. And I saw him in a video in the while they were training and stuff. And I'm not too sure how recent or long it is, but it was good to see him back in the gym. I heard the rumors about him having a fight scheduled, and it fell through. They rescheduled the fight now. I believe he will be fighting. The last time I checked, I think he was gonna supposed to fight July 13th. Don't hold me on that. I'll get back to you with Stephen Kubo Fulton. But yeah, that was supposed to be his greatest challenge, man. And you know, of course, at no sooner that he wins the fight, they don't give him no credit. Nah, they didn't give him shit. They didn't want to give him no kind of credit. So Naoya Inoue is just doing Naoya Inoue things. But I'm yes, I'm in agreement with a lot of people. I believe, yeah, I would like him to fight in America. Yeah, I would like to fight him, have him fight in LA. And it's not even about he needs to or he has to. It's not about that. He makes good money out there in Japan, great money. I don't even think that if you put him in a lower place, I'm not sure if he would make that kind of money, in fact, right? So by him coming out here, I would put him in the best position to win. I would put him in Vegas. I would put him in Vegas. Put him in Vegas. Put him in one of them big ass fancy hotels. You put Naoya Inoue in Vegas, I think the people will come out. I think the people will come out, and I'll be there. Shit, you put him in Vegas, I'll be at that fight. I'm going to Vegas, bro. I'm gonna find the way in. I'll just turn into a ninja, and I'll find my way in. Listen, I gotta tell you, man, um, because I just think that it would, really send a message, um, and it would shut up a lot of people, and it would be good for boxing in general. I think it would be fun for the sport. I think it'll bring bigger and more eyes to the sport. I think more people would get to know him. And I believe by his performance, whoever he shall choose to fight in the United States, this would be his opportunity to show who he is on a world stage. And what better place to fight but Las Vegas? And I would actually put him in Las Vegas to fight. And you put him in Las Vegas to fight who? Put him in Las Vegas to fight Tank. God damn. Would that fight sell out? Come on, guys. Tell me right now. They announced Naoya Inoue versus Tank Davis 130 for the WBO world title in Las Vegas. Tell me, you guys wouldn't be like, right? Yo, and that would be crazy. So you could say what you want about both fighters, but they that would be great dancing partners. Tank's running out of opponents too. You got to go figure. Yeah, it would be kind of big against Loma, but as soon as he beats Loma, you know exactly what they're gonna say. Loma was owed. They're gonna say it, right? Shakur, y'all want to see that fight? How many of y'all want to see that fight? Sounds like two big names, doesn't it? Hmm. Yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, yeah, I want to see it. But not as exciting. You announce that shit. That shit'll get ugly, baby. Yo, chat, what you guys think, man? And chat, tell me right now, if Subriel Matias was to turn around right now in an ideal world, who would you want him to fight? Would you like to see the rematch with Liam Paro right away? Let's say in a good world, Liam Paro accepts a rematch with Subriel Matias and he has to go out to Australia. Would you guys feel comfortable with that fight? Let me know right now in the comments. Let me know. Tell me. You just yes. You could type Y or an N. No. Would you think as a mental aspect that Subriel is built like that? Would you take that by his demeanor? From what you see, can you say to yourself, yeah, I think Subriel's built like that. He can come off this loss to the guy he lost and fight him great. What do you think? Would you want that fight straight away, or would you want him to fight someone else? It doesn't matter really who Subriel fights. He'll fight anybody, right? That's not in question. I'm not saying he needs a tune-up fight. He just needs somebody to beat up on. That's it. Because whoever he's fighting next, he's going to beat up. You just got to get a warm body in the ring, right? So, would you want him to fight someone first and then you would like him to revisit that fight with Liam Paro? Or would you like him to fight in a good world right now? Liam Paro gives him the rematch, Subriel take it, and we're comfortable. As fight fans, we're good with that. What do you guys think? Hell yeah, Road Rage. Yup, rematch will not that it will come. We're just thinking in a hypothetical situation here. If we could have it tomorrow, I want to know your honest opinion. Yes or no, Amando? Would you be okay with it? Would you? Yes. It's either yes or no. Would you think you'd be putting him in too early? That it could affect Subriel. That like the mental part. Do you think that he's not ready? Like I don't think Devin Haney is ready to go back in the ring with Ryan Garcia so soon. I don't think so. You can't convince me otherwise. I think Devin Haney needs to fuck somebody up and get a tune-up fight to get his confidence back up. See, because that was a different kind of ass whooping. You see that Liam Paro didn't whoop Subriel like that. So, you know, I don't, but could any ass whooping, whether it be minimum or bad, it could affect the fighter the same way. Subriel can like fucking Liam Paro has his number or something. I don't know. Do you think mentally, from what you see from Subriel Matia, what you take from him, does your confidence say, hell yeah, yeah, he's cut from this type of cloth. He's built for this shit. Yeah, I feel comfortable sending him out to Australia. In the very next fight, take the rematch and you're comfortable. Or you would say, I would like Super Matias to fight one guy, whoop that guy's ass, then go after him. Where are you guys at? Let me see. What do I see? Matias has to earn it. Matias lost because he was being lazy. Matias has the tools to beat Paro. It's not like Haney were. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Your message. Okay, well, you guys are texting. Okay, where were you? Matias will beat him. Haney is cooked. If he doesn't get the rematch, I think that will affect Subriel. For Matias will destroy Paro in the rematch. I would love to see that ass whooping. Frontline said. Armando says, I really gave my opinion. Matias will beat Amparo. Coqui says Matias is good at rematches. He just can't be fighting like sparring. I think that's what he was saying. Okay, I don't think that this fight really affected Matias in the way that when Subriel Matias walked out of that ring against Liam Paro, I don't really think he felt like he lost the fight. I felt like he might have felt like he didn't give it his best, or he didn't have his best performance, you know. But I don't think he walked away from that fight saying that Liam Paro was the better fighter. I don't think that that was Subriel Matias' mentality. I think Subriel walked away from that fight thinking he let the night slip away. And if he had to do it again, he would beat Liam Paro. That's the mindset I think and what I took. When I looked into his eyes after the defeat, even backstage and everything from a distance, um, he didn't give me the vibe that he felt like Liam Paro was just a better man. No, he didn't give me that impression. What he gave me was that he felt like he didn't do enough to win the fight. And that was the impression I got from him. It was kind of like he was saying, if I had to fight him again, I'd beat the shit out of him. That's the impression I got from Subriel Matias. And I think that Subriel Matias would go out to Australia and I think he would come back with that belt. If I was a betting man and I had to put money on it, I would definitely take Subriel Matias in the rematch. For a lot of different reasons, and particular in what I saw in the fight, yeah, Liam Paro got him. Okay, he got him. But Subriel had a bad night. For whatever reasons it was, he just had a battered night. And it wasn't like Liam Paro was doing anything that was giving Subriel Matias so much problems. It was basically Subriel Matias' inactivity during the fight. It took him a long time to warm up. It took him a long time to find his target. But when he did find his target, he hurt Liam Paro. That seventh round was a motherfucker for him. Okay, just a little bit more, you know. And it seemed that Subriel came off strong in the last closing halves of the round. I noticed that Subriel hit him with some big shots, but there was like 10 seconds left on the fucking clock. Every single time Subriel was catching that momentum, and I was saying to myself while watching the fight, I was saying, man, I wonder if the judges are going to take that in consideration. That if we're judging this fight, it it should be judged by effective punching. And and Subriet's punches, although Liam Paro outpunched him in the fight, outlanded him, Subriet's punches or just they were visible. They were way more effective. And I kept telling my girl, she was saying, wow, Subriet's losing the fight that one. I was like, yeah, but it looks like that. But Subriet's one or two punches did more damage in the round than all Liam's work. So you had to give Subriet that round. And I was talking to her about it. I was like, how you think Teofimo Lopez won that fucking fight? If you was to score that fight against Teofimo Lopez, against Jermaine Ortiz outlanded him. He should have won by just like Liam Paro did. But they're saying that Tio had the more effective punch and he had more forward aggression. In the Liam Paro fighting Subriel Matias, if you want to say that, Subriel had more effective punches and he was the one going forward. And that's why I said, if you're going to score one fight one way and score another fight the other way, we have to have a definitive scoring system. We got to go back to the drawing board on this one, because every time you fight in a different city, a different country, the scoring and the judging of the fights is going to be judged differently. No matter what you say in New York Boxing Athletic Committee, and you say that they're referees, and when you're in New York City, we're judging it by effective punching and forward aggression. But if you was to go to Japan, that's not their rules. And if you was to go to Las Vegas, like what are their rules? What are their rules in fucking New Jersey? What are their rules in fucking Philadelphia? What are their rules? Everybody seems to have a different set of rules. And that's fucked up because it fucks me up as a person that covers the sport because it's fucking up what I think I'm seeing. What I've been told the way the fight should be scored, now that's what the set of eyes I'm watching it with what you told me. And when it's not being scored like that, you're leaving me like, huh? Like, what the fuck is this? So, yeah. So Brian said he would knock him out in the rematch at the post conference. Yeah, Road Rage, he did. Um, Frontline, remember that we had all these conversations before. Some channels recognized what happened and started to talk about it. Matthias Paro. All will. No, I don't make excuses for Matthias. There's not excuses for him. It's just um recognize the situation in his loss. I've gave no excuses for him in the way that I feel like, you know, no, Matthias took it on the chin like a champion. Matthias is going back to the gym and he'll work his way back up. What I talk about is reality. They're not scoring these fights the same everywhere in the world. That's the truth. Whether or not you want to look at the fight and say he could have won the fight, that's my opinion. That's it. What happened is he lost the fucking fight. And that has due in part to Subriel Matias, period. He has no one else to blame for that but himself. Liam Paro walked off with his belt. And that's the end of that until they meet again. And if they shall meet again, I would like to see that. I would like to see it. I still believe in Subriel Matias, not because he's a Puerto Rican. No, I believe in him as a fighter. I do. And I'm smart enough not to hold a fighter on a one night performance. I understand boxing is not the best out of seven. And every single time you think of a fucking Superman, this guy got to be the best every single minute of every single day. You never think that a fighter could have a bad night and then come back and be even more dominant? Excuses and opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. You could say what you want. I can make a case to make him look good or to make him look bad. That's not up to me. Subriel Matias' career is in Subriel Matias' hands, and it's what he does from here. But yeah, yeah, they're not scoring these fights the same. He will bounce back. I met some dudes from Paro's camp, and they were pretty cool. I have videos here from Paro's coaches. I got his phone number, Paro's coach. I got his manager's number too. I got Paro's phone number himself. I got his number. Um, I met a couple. They're funny. Those dudes were funny as shit. The guys in the with the pink line sweaters and shit, Paro's camp, they were funny. They went into Puerto Rico. They were treated fairly. Those men were over there out there joking around. Puerto Ricans didn't disrespect none of them dudes that I saw anyway. Everywhere he went in Puerto Rico, he was met with respect. Um, they showed him hospitality in the hotel he was staying at. He didn't have any situations or any problems. Um, and Puerto Rico showed their class. Puerto Rico showed that we're not savages. That you can come in and beat our guy and we're not going to spit on you and throw bottles or all that stupid shit. That shows class and maturity. And that speaks to the people in the island. Thank you. And when Subriel Matias, if he was to get that opportunity and go up to Australia, I hope the Australians show him the same light of respect that we did. So yeah, if the fight was to happen, you think both fighters should meet at 126? Which both fighters, Naoya Inoue and Tank Davis? That would be depleting Tank Davis too much. I don't think Tank Davis will go down to 126. He'll just be a skeleton with a big head. He'll look like a fucking Martian. His head is not going to shrink. Tank's thick. His body mass is a lot thicker than Naoya Inoue's small frame. But Naoya Inoue, you know, if he went into the ring with Luis Pantera Nari over 130, at least I know he's comfortable fighting over 130. Now we're talking about 8 pounds, give or take. 8 more pounds, 8 to 6 pounds, give or take. That's what we're talking about. That I think Tank would have that much more on Naoya Inoue. And that's why I said I would have put in that rehydration claw, the 10-pound rehydration claw on his ass. Yeah, because it would keep Tank Davis honest. So that way he wouldn't bulk up so much. Make the fight a little. Why do we have to feel that, one of these guys got to fucking put it all on and whatever to cheat? Just to get that extra, if you guys want to beat him on the up and up. Beat him fair and square. Beat Naoya in a way fair and square. Give Tank Davis an opportunity. Tank Davis started his career at 130. He's only fighting at 135. That's 5 fucking actual pounds. Make it even for Tank Davis. The most you would want him to drop would be 130. You know? Yeah, I wouldn't ask for him to go down to 126. That would be killing Tank. You'd put all the advantages on now. Now I would definitely come out and say, nah, fuck that. The American, you're not fighting him at. Nah, I wouldn't let you slide on that one. Hell no. I wouldn't accept that fight like that for Tank. Because now you're cheating for Naoya anyway, I would feel. And I would speak up against that. I'd be like, you're fucking dehydrating Tank all the way down and fucking beat him. You're not beating Tank on an even playing field. No, I wouldn't go for that. Fuck that. Nah, fuck that, bro. It would be either 130 or that's it. Or like a stupid catch weight at 132 or something, maybe. 134. I don't know. Some catch weight. But that's that's highly unlikely. Because Naoya Inoue has never fought at a catch weight in his entire career. And everything he does has to have a belt behind it. He's not going to break his prestigious title run to fight Tank Davis at a fucking catch weight. The only logical solution, there would have to be a belt involved. The only weight division that would meet both of them, you know, fairly even is 130, and that's where you can get a belt involved. You're going to need a belt and a weight division for them to fight in. Now, Inoue will not fight him at a catch weight. You got to understand that. So what I was trying to devour, it was because of all these obstacles. And this is the only place you're going to find what you're looking for. The belt and a division. That's it. I wouldn't accept the fight at 126 for Tank. Fuck no, man. And if Naoya Inoue beat him, I would never give him props for that. Nope. I wouldn't say he beat the best version of Tank Davis. Hell no. I'll be all here the next day fucking shitting on him. Now on Naoya anyway, because I wouldn't accept it. Nah, you gotta beat Tank on the up and up too. If you're gonna beat him on the up and up, then beat our guy too. That's what I'm speaking up for fighters to not to do this to fighters, and I'm gonna go along with it. No, I don't have no favorite fighter. I speak for all fighters. And if you're gonna beat this Japanese dude, just do it on the up and up. If you're gonna beat Tank Davis, just do it on the. If you're gonna beat Terrence, come on, man. Beat these guys on the up and up. All these guys want to do is drag these guys out to bigger weight divisions and finally beat them to say, "Oh, look, I beat them." That's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit, man. You know. But you can also say when the guy chooses to go up and loses, oh, you didn't beat him at the same. No, you we beat him. He beat him. He beat him. No one told his ass to jump up to another weight division. You went up there to another weight division, daring to do what? To be great. Well, in that consequences, daring to be great, there's you know, there's pros and cons. You got to take the good with the bad. Now that the guy loses when he moves up, oh no, he was the best in this weight division. No one would have ever beat him here had it not been that he forced him to go. No, you made that decision. So, yeah, if it happens, yeah, if it happens, road rage. Yeah, and that's what this was all about. You know, talking about and because road rage, I really started sitting back and just thinking about the possibilities of a fight like this. Maybe not now, but that would be one for the ages. Then, right, picture this, road rage, picture this, check it out, right? Let's say that Tank Davis goes and unifies some of the belts. By this time he'll have 2 or 3 belts. Now Oya Inoue would be at 126. He'd probably have like 2 belts or something, right? And that would be a mega fight. It would be like these big world champions, undefeated guys, moving to another weight division. Not to mention that it would officially make an Naoya Inoue 6 weight division. And the storyline leading into the fight would be Tank Davis is fighting to protect Mayweather's record, being that he was an old affiliate with Mayweather, Tank Davis, because on their fight, shall this was to come to fruition, then Naoya Inoue would be entering the 130. That would be what? 6 weight divisions. That would be passing the great Mayweather. And he would pass Mayweather in weight divisions. But if now Tank Davis beats him, he would stop that. Not only would he stop that, he would stop he would take Naoya Inoue's O, which he would not retire undefeated like Mayweather. So leading into the fight, everything that Tank Davis can stop on that night would help Mayweather. And it would be basically a Mayweather fighter. He still rocks with the PBC. And if you sign to the PBC, Leonard Ellerby and Al Heyman, and then then what did Floyd say? Then you're signed to me. So what's Tank Davis? Still. And that on that night he would be defending like a lot of Mayweather's records. Yeah, so I could just hear the storylines in my head of how that would be ironic that it would be a PBC fighter at that time while you know what I'm saying? There would be so much riding on the line. And all the chips would be in the table. Yeah, and if he could pull something like that off, now yeah, in a way, he'd ride. Man, listen, bro, beating Tank Davis, bro. You beat Tank Davis. Oh shit. Or you beat Naoya in a way. You took the monster down. Oh shit. That just would be the biggest fight for me. That would be because we're gonna see what happens in the future. Like I said, there's a lot of good fighters, moving around, and some people coming up, some relatively unknowns, waiting for an opportunity to prove to the world that they're not bullshitting. And soon, there's that kid. He's out there. If you don't think that kid is out there, you're sadly fucking mistaken. There's a kid right now watching Naoya Inoue, bro, watching him, studying Naoya Inoue, and he's gonna come. You better believe there's a kid out there right now, and he could be in our face, and he's been studying Tank Davis, and he's waiting for his moment to prove to the world he's not bullshitting. If you think that you're the toughest person on this planet, just give it a little while. That man's going to come around that corner. Trust me when I tell you. It's something about a warrior's spirit, a warrior's fight that calls or your attention. You can build enough attention so that you, from a distance, they coming. They coming. They're out in the gym right now training with your picture on their wall every day, day in, day out, just punching that bag, looking and watching at your picture and watching your fights, studying your style of fighting. If you think that guy is not out there, just wait a minute. He's going to show up. That guy has to show up for Javante Tank Davis, and that guy must show up for Naoya Inoue. I need to see it. Where is he? He's going to show himself pretty soon. And there are a lot of good men out there. I'm just not really seeing it because Naoya Inoue has set the bar so high, and that just goes to speak to the level of fighter that he is. Good for him for putting the bar that high. Good for him for showing these guys, if you stay focused to the sport of boxing and you stay dedicated, these are the things that you can achieve. Good for him for waking us up. Sometimes you thought your favorite NBA star, your favorite athlete in their era was doing great until you see documentaries with them drinking beer in locker rooms and women and stuff. And you should have seen the locker rooms in the NBA in the 1980s. It was crazy. Guys were coming down the court, freaking losing cocaine on the basketball court, like falling out of their socks. It was a real wild time and shit. And you look at the athletes today and all the rules that they set in place. You can't drink no liquor and beer during a training camp in the Celtics locker room today. You'll get fucking kicked out, right? And it goes to show you how we're grooming these athletes now versus them, and the level of dedication and how much better you can be if you knocked off all that other shit and they really got your ass in shape and paid you all this money to maintain yourself being in shape. And it's good to see. It's good to see Naoya Inoue really set the bar for the rest of these guys coming up, looking at him and saying, if you expect to at least put your name next to this man, you're going to have to do half this shit or even all of it. Surpassed it. In which way? I'm not saying that you got to get 4 belts. You don't really need that. What you need in a championship title run or reign is dominance. Prove your dominance. Prove you beat the best of the best. Prove when the fans ask for it, you did it. I got to admit, no matter what I think about this guy, there was a point in time whenever they said, nope, we think this guy, motherfucker, if he didn't go out the next fight and fight that guy. And there was a time he was doing it, and then you get to the tail end of your career, it's not the same anymore. Well, anyway, fight fans, listen. Let me answer some of your questions, of course. Before I want to end this live stream right here, Edwin, will you go into Australia for the Paro? Man, if I could get my passport done and everything, hell yeah, I would go. Hell yeah, I would go out there. If it happens, yeah, I would go out there. At 130, they would weigh 140, 143 on that fight night. Liam Paro actually came in to weight against Subriel Matias. He was over 150 on fight night. He was like 153, 154. Liam Paro. Subriel Matias was like 148. I don't even think he hit 150. on fight night. Yeah, Liam Paro was a little bit thicker than Subriel Matias on fight night. Because, like I explained to you guys, they have the 10-pound rehydration, and that's at 9 o'clock the next day in the morning. As long as Liam Paro makes weight under 10 pounds at 9 o'clock that day, he can put on 2 or 3 more pounds, and that's okay. He'll come into the fight a little over 150, but the the cutoff time at 9 o'clock in the morning, as long as he makes that second weight, he's fine. He's fine. All you gotta do is make the second weight and not be over 150. Then they know, there's no human in the world that can make that at 9 o'clock and put on 20 pounds. That would be a fucking remarkable feat. Yeah, it means that you're roughly in that range, that weight range naturally. You might be cutting a couple pounds, but that keeps you honest. That 10-pound rehydration, that keeps the fighter honest. And if you try to be slick, say you try to be slick and cut weight like 2 times, good fucking luck. I hope you have Superman with you, because there's not too many humans in the world that's healthy for. You're gonna get your fighter hurt. So, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So listen, fight fans, man. Thank you for tuning in. Tell me what you guys think about the sign. Yo, that ain't no fucking pop-up popping up. I had that sign made. Round one sports talk. Yo, I think it's dope. I'm gonna switch shit around, bro. I might bring it down the sign, and I might have to fucking try to move these posters around. Probably get Mike Tyson up in here. Let's bring Mike Tyson on this side or something. These Naoya Inoue posters are fucking ridiculous. Like $400, bro. The ones I wanted and shit. Like, they got these other pictures, but they corny, right? I think I might have to have mine made or something. They're ridiculous, bro. Some of the posters start like at $75, but the shots that they got of the way, I don't like them. I've looked at them. I don't like them, and I'm not buying them. If I'm spending this much money on one of his posters, I better like the fucking poster at least. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just doing it just to, I want, at least, for that much money, bro, $400, bro, $250 for some of his posters. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. It's crazy. They got like this card, like this boxing card out in Japan. They're selling those for like $2,000, 1,500. Like these boxing cards, and one of them is like a gold edition. I think the other one's a platinum division or silver, because the gold, in fact, was more money. I looked up, like, they had online. They had like on this website. They had like his boots, where like they were signed, and the ones he wore in a fight. They wanted like $7,000 for those boots. Yeah. They had like um even his fucking t-shirts are ridiculous money, right? Out there, it's ridiculous, right? And I'm saying to myself, if I'm gonna spend this much money on this dude, at least I want to like what the fuck they got. There's a couple good, okay pictures, but I don't like them. I don't like them. They were the fight with Donito Donaire where he got his eye cut, and he's got the yellow and gray gloves with the yellow and gray shorts, and they got him like this with the blood. I don't want that. Then they got the basic one with him with all the belts like this, but he doesn't even look like Naoya Inoue because of his angle. So they got some other cool ones. They were all right. I just didn't like the prices on what they were like trying to sell for the dimensions. Like, they trying to sell you some shit like this big for like $150. And I'm like getting a ruler out. I'm like, nah. Yo, when I bought this, I thought I was like, I'm getting a deal. They fucking sent me this shit. Look how big it is. I was like, motherfuckers got me. But I was like, yo, at least I got me, what I'm saying, like a thing of him, right? So I was cool with it because I didn't spend that much money on it, right? But I was like, damn, man. For the price they be wanting on this shit, man, I be like, shit. Yo, listen, you guys, trust me when I tell you, there's money behind me. There's money. You know how much this fucking trophy costs, bro? This is a Vince Lombardi replica. You know what I'm saying? I won with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. This is the first Patriots versus the Rams, Super Bowl one. Tom Brady's first trophy. I figured if, we was going to get a replica trophy of get where it all started, get number one. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it is. The New England Patriots versus St. Louis Rams, Super Bowl one. And it has it right there on the date and everything. You know how much this shit costs, bro? Shit. Just this alone. And I don't got four belts, if you're thinking. I don't got four belts. One, two, three, four. Nah, I don't got four of them. I got five of them. Y'all realize that's the IBO in the corner, right? Right here. Right? So I went and got all five. So, and that fucking sign, that shit ain't, yo, listen. But I love this shit, bro. And this shit looks amazing to me. I like it. You know what I'm saying? It's money well spent. You know, my girl might be mad, but another Quaalude, she'll love me in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Listen, fight fans, I love you guys. Hey, listen, you guys have been the best. Happy New Year is worth it, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, keep me happy. You know what I mean? I fucking went outside and built the pool today. You know what I mean? That shit came in outside. You know what I mean? So listen, fight fans, I love you guys, man. I do it for the love of the sport. Please give the videos likes, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk.